Welcome to Carol's Journey. Today's show is about careers. I'm going to interview individuals who have made various career choices, and they're interesting one at that. We have in our studio audience a comedian and a hair designer, and we're going to explore and find out what motivated them to pursue those different careers. Now, I would like to introduce Rashad Williams, our up-and-coming comedian. This young man has been on the rise. I just heard you perform at the comedy club.
Indeed.
So tell us something about yourself.
All right, I've been doing comedy for about a year now. Started working in Manhattan. First comedy club I did was with the Laughing Buddha Company.
Oh.
Okay,
wow.
That's run by comedian Jeff Lawrence. He's a well-known comedian. He performs all over.
Yes.
Been on TV, been on Comedy Central, and he gave me an opportunity to perform at the Stand. And since then, it's just been an addiction of mine to just make people laugh. Yeah.
Wow. That's very good. Do you write your own material?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things in the comedic field is that you have to always be creating. Okay, that's ABC. Always be creating. Write every day. One of the main lessons I've learned by working with Jeff Lawrence is that you never stop writing. The most important things for a comedian, especially an up and coming comedian like myself, being on stage and writing.
What about education?
Education, well, you'll find a lot of comedians haven't really made it through college or anything like that. I made it through 2 years of college. But as far as the education world, just I would say living life experience. Life experience is a big thing because you get to use a lot of that in your comedy material.
Well, since you talked about life experiences, I understand you also was a manager at, Bally's.
Yes.
Could that possibly influence you in the comedian role?
Absolutely. Being a manager in a gym, you get to see a lot of different people. Customer service skills, engaging people all the time, and just running your staff. When you're having a tough day, one thing that's going to make that day a lot easier is laughter.
Okay.
So I would sit around and crack jokes with my, my employees. We'd go out, have a good time, and it was always like, as far as in the group, I was always the funny guy. But it was just a matter of deciding whether or not I really want to embark on something like this.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the fact that you write your own material. Now, you're basically a stand-up comedian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about doing comedy writing for some of the sitcoms?
Well, that's down the line. To be honest with you, the way I write my material, I don't do too much on what we call observational humor, current events. My material, like I said, is based off of things that have happened in my life, things I see, things that happen to friends of mine, and turning tragedies into, a comedic platform.
Right.
Ultimately, would I love to write for a sitcom? Who wouldn't?
Okay.
Who wouldn't?
Right.
But those that listen to my material, I like to tell jokes to get you to visualize the actual scene. So the jokes I have itself could make a nice sitcom, to be honest with you.
Now, what training did you have to be able to be a comedian? You had something.
Yeah. One of the things that they'll tell you in comedy, timing. You got to be able to, jokes about timing. I just researched. I got on the internet. I looked at some of the greatest comedians, some of the oldest comedians that probably a lot of the people, especially this young generation, wouldn't even know about. Like, usually when someone asks, especially an African American comedian, who was your influences, the first thing that comes to mind is Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby, so on and so forth. And I've, been inspired by them too. But I've even taken it back further than that. I mean, you're talking about Red Fox, you're talking about Bob Newhart, you're talking about Henny Youngman, Don Rickles.
Yes.
So these are comedians that I've sat down, studied, and seen how they deliver their material, how they engage the audience to try to perfect this craft, if you can perfect this craft.
Right. Okay. What's in it for the future?
My ultimate goal is not the fortune. It's not the fame, but the fortune. I'm comfortable just getting on stage and making as many people laugh as possible. Anytime I can bring laughter, like I always say, life is about, more smiles than cries.
Right.
But if I can get the smiles and cries from laughter, then I'm doing my job.
Well, I want to thank you for coming to Carol's Journey.
Absolutely, thank you.
And I'm glad to have the pleasure of meeting you and seeing you perform. And I told you that little story about how I met Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
At a club in Manhattan, and he was doing his stand-up comedian work. And then he made the announcement he was going to Saturday Night Live. I wish that I had a camera at the time, 1,000 times. But thank you for coming to Carol's Journey TV and sharing your experience.
Before I go, those out there, if you want to catch me, I'm going to be performing in a lot of different events. You can see me on Instagram at Raswilly, that's RASWILLI. It will have all the upcoming events that I'm going to be performing at. I'm performing with the likes of Harlem's own comedian Felony, Kenny Wu, Mimi Simpson, Chris Grant. We just did a show last night in Yonkers, actually, called at the Duo Lounge. It's called Act Like You Know Comedy. So you're going to see all the events that I'm going to be involved in. And we also, before I get out of here, we have a show coming up August 20th that'll also be on the Instagram page. It's going to be all the comedians from the Bronx, and we're going to be representing the Bronx like the Bronx should be represented.
Oh, very good. Well, we'll have some of the events posted after this show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for coming.
All right.
Wow, that love. Y'all got me feeling real sexy right now. Give you guys a chance to soak up this chocolate buffet of deliciousness real quick. I see you guys are drinking. This is coming from the heart. I want you guys to be careful. I don't want anybody in here getting a DUI. And by that I mean a date under the influence. No, it's real. It happened to me. Like, I was at the club and I was on my white girl wasted. And I hooked up and went home with Beyonce that night. Yeah. I woke up that morning, it was Jay-Z. No. And I was trying to get Beyonce back too. Like, I gave her Snickers and everything, Well, she wasn't herself when she was hungry, Didn't work. No, some of that I could blame on the alcohol, but some of that I gotta blame you females, okay? And here's the reason why, because when y'all go out, y'all do the right thing. You go out with your BFFs, and I'm all about that support. Girl power, sisterhood, titty, slutty, whatever, okay? But sometimes y'all take that one out in the crew, and you know who she is, the HFF of the crew. And by that I mean the horror film face one. The one that looked like she was born on Friday the 13th, lived on Elm Street. I'm just saying Jason without the mask, And I wouldn't have a problem, except for some reason when y'all bring her out, like, I end up hooking up with her. And now I gotta explain to my boys why my picture's all over social media with a half-naked shaved silverback gorilla. And why she got nipples that look like middle fingers, like. But I don't want to sound bitter, so I'm not gonna continue making this show about my ex-wife. Feel my pain. No, but what I have come to realize lately that being back on the dating scene is that my standards have changed, ladies. Like, I used to be about dimes. Like, I was always a dime guy. She had to be a dime if I dated her. I still have that dime mentality. It's just that they can come in 10 filthy pennies now, I'll lick a penny clean. Think that's impressive. You should see what I do to 2 nickels. No, and also, like, lately, I've got a newfound appreciation for big girls, Maybe it's the weather. I don't know. But I'm not talking about like any regular big chick. Like you gotta be a certified big chick. Like you gotta be big for at least 5 years. You know what I mean? Have like a big girl pension, okay? I don't want no new fat. Now new fat is a chick that's like been skinny all her life and she just now got big. So she still got skinny girl dreams and mentality, you know? Waking up at 4:30 in the morning talking about she want to train for a marathon. Like, no, let's take a train to Wendy's. Let's do that, okay? Boom, boom. Nah. So I hooked up with this one new fat, and we was on our way to the club. And she was in the car talking mucho caca. All right? Now, for those of you guys that's not bilinguini like I am, that means much, whatever the hell caca is. I couldn't afford Rosetta Stone. We're in a recession, okay? I got Rosalind Stone. It was $5. She was a hook on Hunts Point. We'll talk about that upstairs. Sidebar. No, so we get to the club and, you know, I'm in there, I'm popping big bottles. You know, I'm making it happen. All right, well, it was, you know, the long 22 ounces of Bud Light. It was dark, okay? It looked like champagne. Listen, it works. You boil on your budget, I'll boil on mine, okay? But, you know, we dancing and, you know, the music is loud, so I'm not really hearing that well. And she says to me, she's gonna go out to the middle of the floor and show me her skills and drop it like it's hot. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm hungry. I like Hot Pockets, let's go, you know? So we get out to the middle of the floor and she dropped every last bit of it into a full split. Now, impressive, right? Until she says to me, help me up. Ooh, I don't know about that new fat. I didn't sign up for this. So I'm a gentleman though, I did the right thing. You know, I bent down to help her roll over to her belly. So I get the keys because I was going to take the car to go get them Hot Pockets. I was hungry. You don't feel like that was the gentlemanly thing to do, right? I felt the same way when I was leaving. But I went back and I grabbed a debit card because I figured after all that energy she was going to waste, she was going to be hungry too for Hot Pockets. So, but she learned a lesson that day. Basically, her hot dropping the days are over. From here on out, she's just going to be laying it down like it's lukewarm. Yo, that's my time. Rashad Williams, thanks for coming out, y'all.
Rashad Williams, everybody. Keep it going for Rashad Williams.